What's up, buttercups? It's me, Amy Young. I'm coming at you with a Friday freestyle because I've noticed a totes fascinating trend among individuals who classify themselves as single, who also have a fear of rejection, which is a lot of fucking people. So I figured this might be useful to someone if I just shed a little light on this trend that I have uncovered. So yeah, I talk a lot about reframing rejection, becoming rejection proof, because largely, full disclosure, rejection was like my arch nemesis for much of my life. Like, I feared rejection like nothing fucking else because it would sting and burn in such a savage fashion that it would take me like months to recover. Like, if I put myself out on the line and was like, hey, I'm like into you or something, and then he was like, ah, or if I was like dating someone and then a couple months in he was like, ah, I was like, no, you can't do this, because my whole sense of self, like my self-esteem, my confidence, my self-worth hung in the balance. It was all dependent on if someone else was choosing me or wanted to be with me or found me attractive or blah, 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 like all that bullshit nonsense that we do, right? Here's a really fascinating thing though. So people who, if we did like a little Venn diagram, so Venn diagrams is like overlapping circles. So in one circle, it would be like people who fear rejection. On another side of the circle is people who pursue unavailable people. Do you know what that's about, right? Like when you find yourself crushing on someone that is unavailable for any number of reasons, like maybe they're already in a relationship, maybe it's like your boss or a coworker that like realistically like you really like can't or shouldn't get involved with, maybe they're geographically unavailable, like they live on the other side of the world, maybe they're emotionally unavailable, maybe they are relationally unavailable, like they just don't want to be in a relationship right now. Like there's so many different versions of unavailable, and yet we often find ourselves attaching to the idea of like, oh, but I just want to be with that person, even though they are the person who is not available to me. So there are these two circles, right? And here's what I've discovered. There's a lot of fucking overlap. It's a lot of fucking overlap between people who fear rejection and people who chronically pursue unavailable partners. Why would that be? Why would someone who fears rejection go after someone who's unavailable? I will tell you why. I will tell you one theory as to why. One truth that I have uncovered with my work with, so people like all over the world. It's like my favorite thing about my job is that I get to work with people from so many different walks of life and ages and corners of the earth. And yet I see these trends and similarities and I'm like, what the fuck? So here's what's going on. When you pursue someone who is unavailable, the worst has already happened, because from the get-go, they have pretty much rejected you. Like in your pursuit of them, it's almost like an unconscious decision to be rejected. Like, there's a part of you that knows this person is, living somewhere very far. There's no way that our lives could intersect. This person lives very far away from me. This person is engaged to somebody else. This person, I've seen this with people who pursue like friends who are gay. And they're like, why am I in love with my gay friend? And I would bet and argue that you probably have a quasi-terminal fear of rejection. So a way that you manage that is to pursue someone who from the get-go has already rejected you indirectly because they're unavailable. So why do I bring this up? First of all, I would just be curious to know if this hits home with anyone, right? Because I'm posing this as like a conjecture. This is something that I've seen. I'm always just sharing things that I have investigated and witnessed and I'm curious about and noticing. I want to know if you think that there's some truth or validity to this. The other reason that I'm doing this is because so often we like to label this shit our habit of pursuing unavailable people, or oh my God, everyone I like is already with somebody else. We like to make it seem like it's something that's happening to us, right? Like, it's like, I don't know what it is. It's not my fault. I just like all of the guys that I really like just happen to not be interested in relationships. Like, they just can't commit. I don't know what that is. Well, you know what the common fucking denominator is? it's you. And I would bet almost anything, like $2 trillion that I don't have, this is not a formal wager, that you are afraid of truly showing up in a legitimate, loving, nurturing, healthy relationship with a person who actually is available, who could look you back in the eye and say, yep, I'm choosing you. There's a part of you that is so scared of that you would actually rather pursue someone who will guarantee unavailability. Like, the rejection of you is a guarantee from the get-go, because, oh my God, it's so fucking backwards. Like, we just assume that human beings make sense. Like, it's like, why would I choose something that I don't want? Because you want to be in control of it. Pursuing someone who's actually available, who's relationship ready, who might be super into you, scary as fuck. Like, you actually then have the capacity to like really get hurt, or really have your heart broken, or have to be so vulnerable and exposing of who you are, and like really be seen. Pursuing someone who's inherently unavailable, the sting of that rejection, it sucks. It's not as scary as like bearing your soul to another person and potentially falling in love with them and giving that person the power to someday hurt you. And yet we all say that that's what we want, right? Everyone's like, oh, I just want to meet someone. I just want someone who's like available and ready and wants what I want. And I'm here to be like, do you really though? Because look at your patterns and look at your choices and take some ownership. We like have to acknowledge it. As Dr. Phil says, we can't change what we don't acknowledge. We have to acknowledge it and take ownership over it if we have these habits. If we have a really potent fear of rejection, if we have a habit of pursuing someone who's unavailable, all that stuff is gonna prevent us from properly aligning with and connecting with and wholeheartedly pursuing a legit connection that could actually go somewhere. So essentially, just here shining a light, because I don't want you to mislead yourself anymore. And I don't want you to continue living in this way unconsciously, right? Like shrug emojiing your way through relationships, being confused and upset because you don't know why nothing ever works out for you. I mean, we're always playing a role. Even when we are hating everything that's happening around us, it's like we have to take ownership over it. And if we don't, then that's the kind of thing where changes don't happen. And we just continue moving further and further away from what we want. And then that's when we feel really stuck and we feel confused. And it's because what we know in our hearts that we want isn't being honored because we keep choosing this other shit. So just stop doing that. So just stop. Now that I've like brought it to your awareness, if you could just stop doing that, that would be great. If only it was ever that easy. But awareness is step one, acknowledgement is step one. I always say you can't undo awareness, you can only ignore it. So don't ignore it. If this like speaks to your heart, if you see this pattern in yourself, right, that you both fear rejection, you also pursue unavailable people, it's because there's something about those types of connections. It relieves you from having to put any real skin in the game, so to speak. Like it's already laid out what's gonna happen. They're not choosing you. The worst has already happened. You've already been rejected. You get to be in control of that in an unconscious, fucked up way. This shit, the real deal with the right person, fuck me. Scary, beautiful, life-giving, gorgeous, amazing, stellar, spectacular, sexy, succulent, scary as fuck for most people. Love is a trip. Okay, if you liked this video, right, you know what you can do. You can subscribe to my YouTube channel. We can keep the conversation going. You can also head to amyyoungcoaching.com. The link is down in the description box if you want to get on my email list. Keep in touch that way. I would love that. More than anything else, though, you know, I just always hope that you're having a wonderful day, night, week, wherever you are. And until next time, we'll reconnect very soon. And I'll see you.